Alright guys, welcome to the video. Jason here. Once again, we're going to do a screen capture video, and this is going to have to do with points. Specifically, I'm going to talk about blue-green points and the real pain in the ass that can cause people who are trying to get out of their blue-green. But just note, the same thing applies to RCI. For those who aren't familiar, RCI is sort of a points exchange system that involves various timeshare companies and whatnot. But we see the same thing over and over again. And I'm going to give you a quote here that I recorded. So bear with me. I'll read through the quote. And this quote, there's a lot of forums online with timeshare discussion. And this one actually I pulled off of TripAdvisor because it really illustrates, for those of you who have blue-green points, some of the difficulties you're going to face in getting out of your timeshare. And this one is by, believe it or not, Cedar Park Chump. So, interesting name there. But whatnot, it is a good quote. So I'm going to read it. "We discovered that one thing we would never stop doing at Bluegreen is paying. The biggest burden of membership is paying maintenance fees, which were roughly $600 per year for us. Members have to pay these fees regardless of how much they use the facilities. If you stop paying fees, you endanger your credit rating because you are legally obligated to pay these fees. In addition, there are other fees to pay. After the first year passed, we had to pay Bluegreen again to avoid losing our first year's points. That's a big key. If you stop paying, you lose the points that you, in essence, have paid for." So continuing to read, "However, these points lost some of their value, and we couldn't use them to stay at a Bluegreen facility during a high demand period." Now he goes on to say, "The timeshare business model puts the buyer at a disadvantage. You pay a company upfront to obligate you to what is effectively a lease that's virtually impossible to cancel. The lease takes you, the customer, out of the free market and limits your selection to the seller's stock of properties. At the point that you sign, the seller never has to win your business again because you're obligated to keep paying almost no matter what." So let's sort of dissect this. And you're trying to get out of your blue-green timeshare, or again, if you have any type of point systems, RCI or whatnot, pretty much the same thing applies. The bottom line is the timeshare model, is a model, and let me edit this real quick. Again, I'm shooting this on my iPad, so just bear with me. The timeshare model is a model designed to keep you locked in to payments, This is how timeshare companies make their money. They must keep you locked in, and one of the ways they do this is to disguise landmines, in the form of benefits. In other words, but they want to make something that's actually not that good appear really good. And this is why they use a point system. Now a point system with Bluegreen is going to depend. How many points you accumulate greatly depends on how much you pay. And there's other factors there as well, but predominantly it's how much you pay. It's your level of membership, and that level of membership is determined by your yearly maintenance fee. That's what determines it. Basically, what they will do is Bluegreen defines points. They say that points basically equal vacation, and that right up there, that statement, points equal vacation, is really the disguise, because what does that make you want to do? It implies that, The more points, the better the vacation. The better locations you're going to have, the better the resorts you're going to have, and that's how they do it. And that really is true. The more points you have at Bluegreen, the better spots you can get. But what they don't tell you is there is a limited number of vacation slots, okay? Bluegreen does not own unlimited amounts of vacation resorts. They don't. I don't have the current stats on the numbers, but it's not as many as you would think. And so it is limited. So you can have all the points in the world, but one of the common things that comes up with so many owners looking to get out of their timeshare, when I speak to them on the phone, is, we have 20,000 points and we can't use them. Or 10 or 15 or whatever many points, and we can't use our points because we can't find a place to stay. And not to mention that, the points are losing their value. And there's all sorts of different ways they do this, but over time they do this. But whatnot, the frustrating thing is you can't use your points, the bottom line. And so they've paid these really big membership fees, maintenance fees, because the salespeople have told them, hey, it will give you more points. These points will accumulate, and then you can go to better places. You can vacation better places. And people believe this. They believe this, and so they buy in. And I can't tell you how many people I've spoke of. Just some gentleman a month ago who had a lot of points, well over 20,000 points they have accumulated. And the bottom line is he wanted to get out of his timeshare, but he thought, he was under the impression that his points had value, in the marketplace. So if you're trying to sell, a common thing you might think is, well, we have a lot of points, therefore our timeshare is worth more money. That's not the case. Generally speaking, if you have a lot of points, you have a higher maintenance fee. You also have higher fees all across the board, special assessments and things like that. Not to mention, the average person in the marketplace, for a timeshare, the points is not the biggest factor that they have, okay? Like I just explained. Points are in a large part a gimmick when you have a timeshare, and really, they just chain you more because it gets you paying more. But as I said, there's a finite amount of spaces you can actually go, and therefore you're really paying more for something you can't always can't always use, and that is never really going to recoup that value. But this gentleman couldn't understand that, and that will hold him in his timeshare as he tries to sell it again. The average person that I speak to has been trying to sell their timeshare for 2 years, at least those who try to sell it with no luck. And a lot of these people have a lot of points. They just don't understand that points do not really provide a lot of value in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying that they don't allow you to stay at nicer resorts within Bluegreen, but there's a lot of issues associated with actually being able to use those points that people don't realize. And when they go to get out, they're under the impression that those points are worth a lot of money, and that just basically cripples, it gets them in an unrealistic mindset when they're trying to get out. So I just want to scroll back up and just, once again, I want to hit on one thing, okay? Bottom line, you have to understand about the timeshare. And going back to this quote, because he's right on the money. If you stop paying, if you stop paying fees, you endanger your credit rating, but because you are legally obligated to pay these fees, If you have a lot of points, generally speaking, it's because you have had a higher yearly maintenance fee, and so you're scared for 2 reasons to stop paying that. If you get in a financial bind, you're scared to stop paying that because it's going to hurt your credit, but also because you're going to lose those points you've accumulated. So if you understand the psychology of what Bluegreen is doing here, they'll never admit it, but it's really quite genius. They're trying to mentally lock you into something you have earned. People do not want to part with something that they have spent a lot of money and a lot of time to earn, and a points system is basically the way, from a psychological standpoint, to lock people in to that mind frame. Again, after the first year passed, we had to pay Bluegreen again to avoid losing our first year's points. And that's the problem. You can't, if the vacation you want is not available, your points are there, but if you don't pay Bluegreen again to reserve your points, to save them, then you're just going to lose those points. So the point system is a system, once again, it is like a Venus flytrap. It appears good to the unsuspecting fly on the outside, but it holds an imminent amount of danger for people. And I wanted to shoot this video because people just don't understand that. And at the very least, hopefully this will help you to get that that point, or at least start it. Start comprehending it, because it's really seductive to believe that points are beneficial, and they're really not, especially if you want out of your timeshare. Now, just a few points to get out of your timeshare. Okay? The bottom line is, okay, less than 1% resell. It's far less than that. And 1% is 1 out of 100. Okay? And generally speaking, those are skewed figures. When I say resell, basically I mean given away. Okay? Because all the stats are factored together. So people go on eBay and they'll basically try to give away their timeshare. And many times they'll pay to give it away. But still, the vast majority of people do not want them, even for free, because of the maintenance fees. Now, my point is very simple. How many points, pints, that should say points. How many points you have does not generally matter, okay? Still, they're not going to resell. All right, less than 1% resell. How many points you have does not matter. Really, what matters is that you are realistic. Timeshares generally don't resell. The best way to get out of a timeshare, again, as we discussed many times in the past, is generally through a transfer, okay, of ownership. And basically what that is exactly what I just said. It's basically transferring your name off of that deed, because your timeshare, you are in a deed with that timeshare, basically. And it doesn't matter if you owe money or if you don't owe money. The way you get out is through being able to transfer your name off of that. And that's what a reputable transfer company will do. So I'm going to end the video there. We've talked a lot about that in the past. Now, if you want to come to our website and watch our video, it's www.freefromvacationfees.com. Okay, freefromvacationfees.com. You can come there. We deal in transfer. And it doesn't matter whether you owe money on your timeshare, if you own a Bluegreen or whatever timeshare you own, or you don't. We generally can still assist you. But the bottom line is, don't contact us if you're not of the mind frame, or I should say if you are of the mind frame that your points, and because you have so many points, that's going to mean a lot when it comes to getting out of your timeshare. It really doesn't mean shit, for lack of a better term, how many points you have. And quite frankly, if you're of the mindset that these points are worth something and it's keeping you in your timeshare, generally you have the wrong mindset. And I'm hoping this video actually sheds some light on that for you. So again, if you want to get out, visit the site, watch the video, feel free to contact us. and we can share some options with you that you might not be aware of, basically. So until next time, I truly hope that you found this beneficial.